whose journey was as remarkable as the dreams he chased. Ali, born in Lebanon in 1892, arrived to Canada as a penniless 12-year-old boy in 1905. Life was full of struggles, yet his spirit was unbreakable. By the 1930s, he and his wife Josephine had successfully established their lives in the small town of Lac La Biche. Their store became a cornerstone for the community, a place where neighbors gathered and cultural ties flourished. The streets of Lac La Biche were alive and vibrant with the rich history of Muslim fur traders who had arrived long before, and with Lebanese Muslim families owning 90% of the local businesses. As the 1950s approached, the desire for more and more places of worship grew stronger within the community. And in 1958, under the leadership of Hilwi Hamdan, a new masjid was established in Edmonton. Her original goal wasn't to stay in Edmonton, but arrived through an unexpected detour. Hilwi, expecting her second child, was traveling with her husband and her son on a dog sled. And when her son fell ill, the nearest hospital was in Edmonton. So Hilwi and her family redirected their routes to Edmonton, living in tents and staying with Indigenous families throughout the way. Even after Hilwi had left Edmonton, it always had a near and dear place in her heart. She continued to advocate for the community, and although the Great Depression was happening, she made it a point to advocate for the building of the masjid, saying that it would benefit the future generations to come. Her legacy is still seen today, as a public school in Edmonton is named after her honor, and she was nominated to be on the $100 bill. Meanwhile, another beacon of hope was emerging in Alberta. Larry Shabin, a man born in the small town of Hannah in 1935. Larry was the first Muslim cabinet minister of Canada from 1979 to 1982. He carried the aspirations of many, breaking barriers and opening doors for future generations. In 1972, a small group of dedicated souls from the Muslim Association of Calgary reached out to none other than Muhammad Ali, a man whose name echoed in every corner of the world. They sought his help in seeking support for the first masjid to be built in Calgary, and to their amazement, he answered their call. His visit inspired the Muslim community and marked a significant moment in the intertwined history of sports and in faith. The Southwest Masjid is a mosque that I visit very often, a couple times a week, and for Friday congregational prayers. It's a huge part of who I am. These stories, filled with struggle and rich with triumph, are the threads that bind the Muslim community together. From early settlers, like Ali and Josephine, to pioneers like Hilwi and Larry, their stories are not just about faith, but resilience, unity, and what it means to be a community. The story of my identity begins with my mom, who immigrated to Canada as a young 16-year-old, with her grandparents, parents, and younger brother. Their struggles as a family were met at the Calgary airport when such a huge snowstorm hit in May that the lights went out. They stayed with my mom's aunt and uncle who had arrived to Canada before them. And besides the shock of the weather, they experienced cultural shock as well. Like the time someone asked my mom what's up, and she actually looked up.
That makes sense. What's up? I don't know.
Once the excitement of being in a new country settled in, they quickly realized that not only did they miss their family and friends, but they had a long journey of learning. Meanwhile, another story was starting to form, as my dad, a student as well, had similar struggles to my mom, working hard to make ends meet. From the moment he met my mom, he fell in love with her, and they later got married. After my parents had got married, their struggles continued as they were working hard, finishing up with school, and working multiple jobs in order to provide for their growing family. My identity as being a Muslim and as being a Canadian are two very important parts of who I am. And if that means having poutine every Friday after prayers, then so it is.
That's very Quebecois. Okay.
My faith is an integral part of who I am. Surrounding myself in places like the mosque and in communities that celebrate that part of me make me feel belonged. Growing up, my parents always taught us to uphold the morals and values that we are taught as Muslims, and to always give back to the community. And I believe the better of a Muslim I become, the better I'm able to give back to the community. I work hard to translate the values I learned in the mosque, such as respect, integrity, and honesty, outside of the mosque as well, and be conscious of my actions. However, there are some days when, no matter how hard I try or how proud I am of my identity, I will never be enough. Or someone will remind me that I'm different, or that they belong to the us category and I am them. Incidents like the time when I was at my friend's house for a backyard party, and her neighbor told us that we're in Canada now, even though we were all born here, or that we don't have to wear that thing here. Or the time when I was standing in front of my school and a group of boys from behind me yelled, "We hate Muslims." Incidents like this continue to haunt me and make me feel unsafe in the city that I call home. But although these statements and remind myself what my true purpose in life is, attending events like today's reassure me and remind me that not everyone is like that, and that majority of the people I have met throughout my life have shown me nothing but kindness. My parents' struggle and how they made Canada their home serves as an inspiration to my siblings and I to work hard for the country we call home, to be proud of our identity, and to be proud of the stories that were created to shape it.
Wow. Amazing. And she also Hafiza. Hafiz the Quran, mashallah.
Thank you, Julia, for sharing